Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the episode 6 of The Last of Us breakdown review post-show thoughts here on Strictly Casual. My name is Ryder. I'm joined by Vincent. Today, we have some stuff to get into. Oh my gosh. Real quick before we get into, if you're watching the VOD, just know that every Sunday after the episode, you can hop in our live streams and chat with us one-on-one live and talk about your thoughts. But thanks for watching if you're watching after the fact. Anyways, Vince, I think we should get into the big stuff. I don't know. I want to hear everything you got. We got some questions. Let's cook.
Great episode.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw it out. It's a great episode. There's a lot of different pieces I want to talk about with you, Ryder.
Yeah, it might be a long one today.
I don't know where to start. I really don't know where to start with this one.
Yeah. Okay. I'll start with something simple. I'll say, and the music of this show is so nice because, like the game, besides the theme, what the music does is it really builds a richness of like a world. Like you really sit in it. And it really makes a character of what it sets the show apart. So it's really nice hearing little motifs that we know about. Like even there was one song that is the credit song for the first game. And I was like, oh, there's that. I didn't think we would get that early.
Interesting.
And so every time I hear the music, I'm always like, God, just thank you. You know, I'm just thankful that they did that. I don't know.
This was such a dense episode. They did a lot with this that I wasn't. There were some timeline order things that are different. Am I correct in that?
No, yeah.
And I want to say the biggest thing is that Jackson, they don't go to Jackson in the game. Yeah, they go to the dam, and the dam is not. That is the settlement. It's not Jackson yet. /
True, yeah. The little bit in the game is where they're walking on the horses. They kind of look out, and Tommy kind of presents it to us, right? He's like, "Hey, look, this is where you could be," you know. And that's when Joel and Ellie are leaving, kind of. That's all we get is just a little glimpse of the town. It's not until part 2 we get it.
Because we'll be back. We'll be back there in part 2. We have to be. They set up even the string lights in the ceiling from the dance scene. Or like things like that. I'm like, God, part 2 is here. Like we're already kind of in it.
Exactly. That's a great thing to see. There's a lot of little like connections here, right? For the gamer, it's like, whoa,
It was crazy. I mean, it was crazy. I'm like freaking out over this because, like,
yeah, me too.
We have Tommy in here. Tommy's got a wife in Jackson.
Yeah,
doesn't have a wife in the game, or like, not married. Tommy's having a child.
Yeah. I thought Maria. Yeah, remember because he's like, I guess you're my brother-in-law. I think they were married.
Not till the second game though, right?
No, I think in the first one, yeah. When they meet at the dam, it's like,
oh, I'm crazy. Man.
And then she's like, well. Guessing you're my brother-in-law. That's what she says. She says that line.
I do remember that. So. You're right.
I think they were married, but the kid is the addition, right? So how do we feel about? I mean, let me hear.
I'm sure that they'll have the kid will be in the second part. Whatever. Yeah. Whatever that'll be. Here's my guess: is the kid will be a part of Dina, Ellie, and what's the character's name? The other guy.
Jesse.
Jesse. Yeah. I'm sure that he'll be part of that squad, the people that run out and do runs and do that kind of stuff. But I'm more interested in. I feel like they made Joel his character has so much depth.
Yeah.
And in this, there were so many moments where I was like, Joel, shut up. What are you saying? Like, why are you saying this to Ellie? Or like, why are you saying this to Tommy? Like, I wanted to like look at Joel, like slap him across the face and be like, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? These people are trying to be nice to you. People are trying to help you.
I'm with you.
But they added so much depth with like the way he's having these panic attacks and stuff like that throughout this episode is so good. I thought they just did a great job with that.
Initially, I thought, I was like, this is my mind already going crazy. I thought, are they going to change? So he gets stabbed. We know he gets stabbed in this, both in the game and in this.
Which was weird.
It kind of changed a little bit.
In the game, he falls off that story, and it's so much more intense, in my opinion.
The game,
so much more intense.
That's where it won in this one. So when they were setting up him having his anxiety attacks, I thought, are they setting up him having a heart attack? And that was going to be the moment of hurt that Ellie has to take care of him from a heart attack. But I don't know. My mind was going crazy. It's like, that's a change. But no, they did a stab. And it felt a little minor in this. But
do you know how dirty they're doing this right now? This is a questionable decision that I don't really know if I agree with or not. Hi, Melissa, by the way. Welcome. This is in the game. Joel gets, this is kind of spoilers for those who haven't played the game. Joel's not dead, I guess, right? In this section, he falls down, and then you play as Ellie in the next scene, like after it cuts to black, sort of thing. And you kind of are left to the assumption that Joel has died. And they're doing that with this show by having the cliffhanger ending of him falling off the horse, getting stabbed, and the next episode is going to be the Left Behind
Flashback,
episode.
yeah. We're
the
going
flashback
back.
episode. So they're going to make us go 2 weeks thinking
Weeks.
Joel's dead, basically,
Yeah.
in a sense.
Well, yeah, they had my dad fooled.
Really?
Yeah. So I would assume maybe there's millions of people watching.
There's going to be people that do assume that Joel's dead. Yeah.
If they don't ask, or if they don't have anybody that knows, maybe they're searching it up. But maybe to them it's like, oh man, like, is that it? Like, I'm guessing she's on her own. Like, because essentially my dad was like, oh, he's dead. He's dead. Yeah, that's why, huh? And it's like, that's why you didn't want to tell me, huh? And I'm like, I'm just not gonna tell you. Anyways, but
I'm glad people got surprised by that, though.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
real.
So there's some great moments. Let's talk about the conversation in the bar, because Joel and Tommy, I mean, both of these actors were giving it their all. And I guess the conversation in the workshop too. But
Yes.
there's a little moment where I want to point out, with you, is that I think it's cool that Tommy's having a new child now. So essentially, I feel that it's adding more to Joel's sadness because he's robbed of a fatherhood. Like, he didn't get to have that. So it just adds more to. It's just more of a nail in the coffin. Like, oh wow, it's like he's selfish in a way, kind of like.
Joel's a selfish person.
Yeah,
I think this conversation is further into that. He asks Tommy if he'll do this to right their wrongs, as if Tommy needs to like feel like he has to do that. I think Joel he's hard on himself on purpose through that, but doesn't have to drag Tommy down to that. Like, Tommy's vibing. We saw it in the little like wrap up thing in the end of the episode where it's like Joel feels the need to save everybody, but Tommy doesn't need saving. He's like thriving.
I'm living happy. He's happy in that town.
Yeah.
And it adds more to the conversation of two. It adds to the moment because we know how it ends with Joel's choices specifically.
Yes.
And so for his conversation to say, look, I'm broken. I was afraid. Like with the dog was about to potentially could have killed Ellie. And he talked about how I was afraid and I stood still and I did nothing. So I think they wrote that in to add more to the choices that Joel will, evidently make that we'll know. But it's just like, this is good. Yeah.
I was kind of like freaking out post that conversation of like, oh my God, what does this mean? Like, he's handing Ellie off to Tommy. Like, is Tommy actually going to do that? How are they going to bridge the gap for the rest of the story? Like, I knew they were going to have the rest of the story, but like, this is a huge direction shift. But they used that conversation and the decision to like, Joel to pawn off Ellie basically as another like brick in their relationship of Joel and Ellie. Like, Ellie's choosing Joel no matter what, even if he's a more dangerous choice. She trusts him. She wants to be with him, that sort of thing. And Joel has yet to admit that he relies on her more than she knows. He's relying on her in a lot of ways. So
absolutely,
I think that's like fascinating in and of itself. It's like, I was freaking out that this was like, oh, the story's going to go in a different direction, but it's not. It's actually going to further the story in a sense.
No, absolutely. Yeah, you're right.
They kept the.
I like your dad. Thanks. He's been real. It's funny watching it with my parents because my mom, there's some stuff she recognizes, like with the place. She's like, oh, that's from part 2, like the Jackson and some locations, right? So she remembers because I would show her this stuff. So that's great. My dad asked so many questions though about but not like educated ones, just silly ones. So
just silly ones.
It's hard.
I like it.
But anyways,
the monkeys, dude. They kept the monkeys as a little gag. I thought that was interesting. But I feel like the animals are such an important part of The Last of Us. It's like something that is free and unchanged through this.
Yeah.
This, like, kind of. I don't know. I mean, we'll see it more later in the show with the giraffe and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Speaking of animals, I gotta say, so this is kind of spoilery connecting to part 2. Not really. That's not a big thing. They put Ellie's horse Shimmer. Shimmer's here.
Yeah, that was interesting too.
I was like, oh my God, like they're throwing in these. I mean, it's not.
They take Shimmer out.
Yeah, because it's not that part 2 is separate, right? Like they're both one story, so it's not wrong for them to take parts of that story and put it in here because it's all canon. I guess it's all the same thing.
I mean, part of it is like, I'm sure when they were making part 1, they had no idea about part 2 would even exist. They weren't thinking about that. It was only later until they did that. So now that they're doing the show, knowing part 2 does exist, it's easier to mend some stuff or change some things. So which is cool. I like that a lot. Yeah.
And we hear it in the music motifs too. Like they're using so many songs from the part 2 score. I would listen to it. I'm like, wow, they're just like, just blend it. No need to separate it because it's like 2 seasons of a show. Okay. So speaking of season 2, first question real quick before I know we want to get into it. Do you think that season 2 was greenlit months in advance, or do you think that it was like a new thing that they just did?
They knew.
They knew? How crazy.
They knew that this would be enough of a success to do a season 2. 100%.
Oh,
I
wow.
guarantee that Pedro and Bella's contracts and everybody's contracts, if you're signing up for this, you're signing up for multiple seasons, regardless if it gets greenlit for season 2 or not. Even in the behind the scenes thing, they talked about how they needed to have a Jackson to shoot in. And if any shop didn't want to be included, they had to move and go to another town to like have the place they're going to shoot. They probably already have the contract in place. Like, if we do a season 2, it's probably going to take place in these months. We would need to take over the street for a month to shoot this. Like, we'll pay you accordingly or something
insane.
like that. They do, yeah. Oh yeah, it's planned out. You're joking me? They knew this was going to be a hit.
That's true. That's true. And speaking of being planned out, it seems like that is true because we got potentially, I think one of the biggest moments for me was showing this girl kind of in the back, noticing Ellie and Joel pull up. But I'll tell you, here's one thing that I remember from part 2. Okay, well, I haven't even said it yet. Dina, one of the main characters in Last of Us Part 2. Twitter was blowing up about it. I
haven't seen a single thing. I'm scrolling right now to try to find.
Again, I know everybody has different feeds, so it's probably just my biased feed of people being like Dina, and then he's showing the both girls. She's wearing the same outfit. The actress on IMDb, I took a screenshot of her name. Her name is, here we go. Ready?
How do we know?
Oh, we don't know. No, I'm throwing out evidence. Ready? I have my final point will be at the end. Paulina Van Cleef. She looks just like Dina. I'll tell you that.
I don't think it's Dina.
Well, okay. In part 2, when they were talking, when they were on the horse, Dina told Ellie, "Hey, I remember when you first arrived to Jackson, I snuck and I saw you steal some food." And
nice.
And so that was like a little moment. And so they're like, holy shoot, like that's the moment that Dina was talking about when she popped up and she saw it. I was like, no way.
It's totally Dina. You're right.
I feel for the people who haven't played the video games because they're gonna get so much more from the games. Like both ways. It works both ways. So I think like a quote like that is like, oh my God, it pays off for this to kind of like, wow. That's that moment she was talking about. And so I think that was her. I was like, oh my God. I don't know. I don't think they'd focus on a little girl like that for nothing. I was like,
it was interesting. I kind of thought for a second, like maybe Dina, but then it quickly passed. Like that thought passed fast. But you might be right.
I'll have to see.
It was just so interesting that they did Jackson. I thought that was an interesting choice, all in all. I saw that in the trailer of last week, and I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't really know if that's the move or like that's what's happening, but they're doing a good job.
What would have made it more probably believable is if maybe we saw a guy and looks like Jesse, and we saw, you know what I mean, like more of these characters where it's like, oh wow, there they all are. But for one girl, it's
in my mind, there's a 10-year time jump between these. I know there's not. It's a 3-year,
at least 4. I'll say 4. Well, because she's 19, she's 14 in this, she's 19 in that, so I guess 5. So but I don't know. Yeah. I'm just saying 4.
I imagine there's such a big gap. Like these are kids. They're kids right now, or like entering. They're like teen years. These kids, and then when we meet them, they're like young adult. Like
that's what I'm saying. I've been thinking it's the same thing because Bella Ramsey.
We have a problem. Yeah, we have a problem.
Here's the problem too, right? Because Bella Ramsey, I think is 19 now, just turned 19, right?
Yeah.
And Ellie in the second part is 19, and I know Bella's playing a 14-year-old, but Bella is.
She looks young.
She looks young, and she's small too. And when we meet Ellie in the second one, she's kind of tall, and she kind of looks like a young adult. But I'm just curious, is like how, because I don't think you're not gonna recast Bella. She's too good.
No, they're not recasting her.
You know, like how are you? You know, I wonder with hair, makeup, and like like wardrobe. It's going to be cool on how the illusion of, oh, you're older. I wonder how they do that.
But the way she carries herself will be different when she's older too. She's carrying herself as a 14-year-old right now, like swinging her arms as she walks, like doing that whole thing. Like,
good point.
That's gonna be different. It's gonna feel older.
Because she's very
I still cannot imagine how they're gonna do part 2. I
know.
don't know how they're gonna do it. It's gonna be so much darker. No, people are not ready for part 2.
And it's more so of like how they deliver. I mean, I'm sorry not to get into part 2, but like how they deliver the timeline, because the part 2 story is definitely
bigger,
it's stronger in a video game format. Like like if you want to just put that to TV, I think you're really gonna have to switch it around and do it. But okay, back to this episode.
I want to shout out the opening scene of Joel holding hostage the 2 people in the cabin.
Oh yeah,
hilarious addition, so funny. I thought that was great. I thought that was fantastic.
He pulls out that tactic too of like, this better be the same place she said. It's
Right,
like the
yes.
interrogation. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
little bits and moments here, they change up, but yeah.
Or even like when Tommy and Ellie are walking in Jackson
Mhm.
with Joel, and Tommy says something about he knows how to shoot the I don't know, shoot an infected
Yeah,
half a
rifle.
mile away with a headshot, like whatever. And then Ellie's like, "Oh, maybe one day you can teach me something like that." And then there's that mission in is it part 2?
Yeah, is it? Mhm.
In part 2 where he teaches her how to shoot, which is like a flashback of this time period. Or
Yeah,
between,
I think she was around 15, 16 there, like
So
she has her
cool,
tattoo
yeah.
then, but there's those moments that, again, the blending of both, because like with a lot of the flashbacks in part 2, she's still around this age. So it's like, would you put that in the beginning, or would you put that where it took place in that story?
They'll use the flashback for like why it's important. It's like the flashbacks are in the game are placed of why they're important to the story at that time. They'll just do that wherever they're doing the new timeline of the game, I think. Question. We have 3 more episodes left of the show. Next episode's going to be Left Behind. It's going to be done. That'll be boom. It'll be hit. I think it'll mostly just be all the Left Behind storyline and maybe a tiny bit of just Ellie. I think it's going to start off where Ellie's like trying to take care of Joel, and then it's going to be like boom, flashback episode, and then back, and then she's still taking care of Joel. Episode ends. That's something like that.
For sure. No, that's a safe bet.
The following episode, episode 8, will be David's camp. All David's camp. It'll be crazy. And then the final episode will be the finale. It's going to be great. I think it works out.
Yeah.
I was a little worried about how they're going to fit all this stuff in the next 3 episodes or so, but I think they have it a handle. They got a handle on it.
What was your question? Like, is that going to be the final 3 parts?
Yes, that was my question. I was gonna pose it as a question, and then I was like, let me just talk
I'm with you too. I think it's crazy how when you're watching the show, you're like, the game kind of works really well as a TV format, right? Episodically. Because it's chapters, right? Yeah. So
I even loved, this is a major spoiler for part 2 and part 1. So if you this is like, please don't listen to this if you haven't played the games. But Joel talks about how he wants to like, the singing joke is funny, how he wants to go sing whatever, but he wants to live on he wants to live on a farm, like all this kind of stuff. He just describes to a T where Ellie ends up later on.
Dude,
it's crazy.
And see, that's not in the game, so that adds to it of like, wow, that's why Ellie was there. Like, I'm sure, both conversations happen, both the show and the game happen, so they're just adding to each other. And then man, there was something else too about like a moment you mentioned too that I'm going blank, but lots of these little moments of, I'm gonna sing. Oh, I was gonna say about Tommy and Maria. I think they were great, and even though we got them for just this one episode, it's so cool that again, we meet them again, and how we know how close they are with Ellie, and they become family. It's just it's gonna be cool to just see them in that vein of like, wow, we know where they end up, like family wise.
We do,
It's cool to see them just meeting.
We haven't seen the homes in Jackson. Like, I can't wait to see Tommy's home in Jackson. There's so many parts I get excited for. Just walking around, I'm like, this is crazy. I feel like it almost feels
like you've been there
to be there. It feels wrong to be there because I'm like, there's so many moments I want. Like, it's too early. Like, we're not supposed to be here yet. Like, this is for later. Which is, I don't know. It's silly.
Would you have rather have had the damn moments replaced with this? Like,
no, I don't think I'd rather. I don't know if it would be better one way or the other. I think that as a show, consistency-wise, it's awesome. This would be great. From a game perspective, if they were to remake part 1, let's say entirely, then I'm sure they would do the same thing. I don't think it's a problem. I'm neutral on this.
Because part 2, you finally get to cherish what was seen as a tease in part 1, right? So I get what you mean. Like, it's like, no, not yet. It's like, no, we gotta wait. Like,
exactly.
We gotta enjoy it later.
Hold your horses there. This is for later.
Yeah. No, but I was also feeling like, and again, I'll throw this to you. Do you feel like, I don't know, like you've lived this story so much, right? I've lived this story so much.
Yeah.
Walking through Jackson, I was like, oh my God, I've been there. I've walked there. I don't know. I was thinking that sometimes. I was like,
I just want to pull out the disc, bro. I just want to pull out the disc and start playing. Like, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, for next week, I haven't done Left Behind for the remake part 1, so
me neither.
Do that.
I should do that before.
I want to play it. It's not long.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Like 2 hours. The stream idea?
I'll do that this week.
Oh yeah,
or not even stream, just to play.
I want to
that'd be so sick.
because it's gonna be like the best quality, and I'm like,
Good
this is the
idea, V.
chance.
Good idea,
Yeah.
dude. That would be great. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Love that.
Okay, so yeah, we got the time. We got the intro scene was great. I think too about that couple too. It's like that's what I would do. I would just go to the middle of nowhere, just kind of hide,
Oh,
forget
the
about
couple at the
people.
beginning. Yeah, they were fantastic.
And they were like,
it was so funny.
"We've been here before you were born, dude." Like that's
There's-
cool, man. That's
There's
cool.
one moment that kind of icked me on
Mhm.
this episode,
Mhm.
and that was after Ellie chooses Joel to go on her with the trip,
Uh-huh.
and then it cuts to some like montagey shots of them on the horse, like riding, like cracking jokes.
Uh-huh.
But the music felt kind of like Lifetime movie-y, and like I don't know.
Really?
It felt weird to me. Like
Okay,
too happy for a sec.
that felt like
like-
it for me though. I was like, "This is it. This is fun."
No, I know, but it was
Mhm.
almost like
Mhm.
cheesy.
I totally get what you mean.
happy.
I totally see it though. I know. I'm with you. Yeah.
It quickly switched
Mhm.
out of that, so it wasn't even that big of an
It was
issue,
the
but, like,
montaginess of it. Yeah, I got you.
yeah, it was the montage, and just like
Mhm,
fade
mhm,
to like this other shot of them on the horse, dude. I'm like,
No, I see you. I
"Oh."
see you. Let's see. The moment where they're talking, and then she rests her face on him, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh my, this is my memory of them. This is them.
The show is so good, dude.
Following Pedro's performance, like too when he was in the workshop, I was like, this is my. I mean, I love Pedro and I love Bella. I think they're so, especially this
They're great.
episode, they're perfect. They're perfect for these characters, and I'm like, this is it really for me.
Yeah.
Let's see. Anything else we're missing? Let's see.
I have nothing else to add on this episode. I think. Oh, I
Eastern
don't know.
Colorado. I think Eastern Colorado was, I don't want not rush, but they did the stab and then kind of just went,
The stab went way too quick.
It went way
the
too
stab,
quick.
like, it happens too quick. He's like, oh, he
Yeah.
stabbed. Oh my god, he's falling off the horse. Like,
Because
this
it's
is, like,
important
it
for
just got
her.
fast.
Because it's like, oh shoot, she's
Yeah.
doing this on her own. Like they just kind of like, oh, just do it and go, do it and go.
Oh, it's done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Um,
No, it was good though. Yeah. I can't wait for the next couple weeks of episodes.
Yeah.
And I hope people are enjoying it
mhm.
that haven't played the game. I wish we had that perspective on here a
Yeah.
little bit.
Oh, true. Yeah, to ask like so.
But then we couldn't talk about the game because I wouldn't want to ruin that experience
Mhm.
for them.
No, for sure. Okay. Well, I guess another check-in. Roommates, girlfriend. Like, what are some
Loving it.
comments that
Loving
are
it.
coming?
Everybody's
Yeah?
loving it.
That's great. Any,
There's-
any
there's
questions? Oh yeah, yeah.
There's questions.
Oh man, but
It's
that's
hard.
tough.
It's hard
yeah.
for this one specifically because it ends on this like major cliffhanger. It's
Mhm.
easier with like Sam and Henry, like, oh, you guys will find out next week. They're like, Joel's not really dead, or it's like, is Joel really dead? Like,
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
That's tough to be like. Well, no.
Well, I'm
um,
like,
Well, because if it's, I guess anything that's in a trailer for part 2 is in play. You know what I mean? We can only say what's in the trailer for part
Yeah.
2. That's it.
exactly. You can always see what's in the trailer.
And yeah, the trailers. Yeah, trailers don't lie. Trailers never lie to us.
Nope, not the Last of Us Part 2 trailer at all. Did not lie to us at all. Not even a little bit.
Oh, look, Melissa said, "I never played the game. Effing love the show."
Listen, I
you've
hope
asked-
you play the game one day too.
Yeah,
That'd be
I was
awesome. Then I want to hear. That's a great experience that I
Mhm.
kind of wish I could hear about too. Someone that's watched the show and then play the game, see what the
Mhm.
difference is, kind of thing. There, it's interesting.
We'll have to
to me.
put out like a public poll or something. Like, has anybody
Yeah.
here just watched the show and not played the game on Instagram,
Yeah.
whatever?
We'll put that on a YouTube community post right there. I'd like to.
Yes.
You should see that.
But that's it. Yeah, I think I'm good. I guess for like a
Yeah.
final thing.
Anybody in chat have anything they want to bring up before we wrap this baby up? We have 3 more weeks of this show. We have Sunday, and
Mhm.
Sunday.
Mhm.
And
One of
then
these
it's over.
Sundays, I'll have to come over so we can do maybe
I would
the
love to do
final
the
one. Maybe the
finale.
final.
I would
Yeah,
love to do
I guess
that.
the
Yeah,
final
that'd
one
be
is
so cool.
I come down and it's like this is it. We're
That'd be
watching
so
together.
cool.
And I'll start crying.
Melissa says she was sobbing during this episode. Yeah, it's that good. It's that good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this episode 6 post-show breakdown and review. We will see you next week for the episode 7 post-show breakdown and review.
Ooh.
I should be playing the Left Behind this week
Yeah, me too. I'll
Um,
try.
to learn about that. I think that
Mhm.
would be pretty good. So I appreciate you all, and I will see you on the next one. Peace out, everybody.